Fear is born from a depletion. When you're depleted, you need to find a way to survive or compensate. You need to plug the hole. If we understand fear as being something in your nervous system, so that your nervous system is supposed to be a closed circuit. Grounded and plugged. So if the energy flows, you're in the flow, then you can tune yourself to a higher flow and there's no fear. If now within that circuit there's something weak and it's not well contained, there's going to be fear. In other words, you're riding a wave, but you feel insecure because your legs are weak, or the board is not properly balanced. Aren't you not going to be worried that you're going to crash? So you're going to have to compensate. You're going to compensate by either adjusting your stance. You're going to compensate by tensing your diaphragm so that there's less weight on your legs. You're going to compensate by either attacking the wave or being a little too mellow on the wave. You're going to compensate by, I don't know how. And if you would have to do that too very long, so you're probably going to drink a Red Bull before, so you're like a little like on the edge, right? You're going to compensate. So fear is born from a lack of harmony of the nervous system, and it's not properly plugged. Because there's something it's not hermetic, there needs to be compensations. And those compensations, are contracts. I'm going to contract, I need this, I need that, I need this. To create, it's not going to seal, but it's going to make it like if it's sealed. It's like there's a hole, I'm going to put Scotch tape. So I had to contract with Scotch tape. I had to give something to Scotch tape in order to have access to Scotch tape. Now Scotch tape may seal the little hole in your cup, but it's not going to last forever, and it doesn't change the fact that the cup is not sealed. And when you're using the cup, you know that anything can happen. Somebody may poke at the Scotch tape, eventually the Scotch tape wears out. Who knows? So fear is born because we are off the flow and our nervous system is not able to contain the energy and ride the flow. So now what you're going to do? So you're going to need to adopt certain states of mind, aka entities, in order to compensate. To make you feel strong, to make you feel courageous, to make you feel depressed so that you don't engage into anything which doesn't put your life in jeopardy. Both ends exist. If I'm depressed, I'm never going to go on the wave, ain't nothing going to happen to me. It's a compensation. You have to contract with an entity that's heavy, dull, tamasic, that eats a particular kind of way, so that when you wake up in the morning, you're not going to go out and go on the fucking surfboard, so ain't nothing going to happen to you. If you understand the analogy. Or if you are the surfer, you're going to get on, and now you're going to be like, wired. So you don't feel the insecurity, you don't feel the fear, you don't think, you just attack. Yeah, but when you don't think, guess what happens? And when you're always on a high, you're not really with the flow, are you? You're on some kind of flow, but you're not on the flow, so sooner or later you're going to make a mistake. It's going to cost you a leg. Or some shark is going to come, because sharks don't like fear. That means you don't respect the ocean. You're trying to conquer the ocean. You ain't got love for the ocean. You're not learning to flow with the ocean. This is a big subject. Let's not get into that, but it's certainly interesting. So you are technically a virus or a bacteria. It's not a good analogy because that would presume that bacteria or viruses are evil. I don't want to get to that, but you understand what I mean. You're not supposed to be there. So there comes the shark, says, let's eat that shit. It's the white blood cell of the ocean. Get the fuck out of here. So anyways, that's how I understand things. Fear is born from the fact that your nervous system is not sealed. And what I mean sealed or organically. And when you need to compensate, these are contracts. So for example, I need Red Bull. Well, I need to give something to have access to Red Bull. Red Bull will only last for a certain amount of time. So I'm insecure. There's this level of insecurity. I can compensate for some time, but I had to give something. I had to give something of myself to have access to it. Then I have to take Red Bull. Red Bull is going to exhaust me. So in a couple of minutes after I go high, I'm going to go down. And I'm going to be lower than before. So it's going to cost me something. So I'm anxious. And then other systems are going to have to compensate for that. But for a little small moment of time, I'm kind of above my issue or my fear. It's like disappeared because I'm high. So people are, let's say, intelligent are going to be like, well, why don't I find a way to always be ahead of the curve? Always high and always on a new high, so I never ever have to come down. And that's the lifestyle they lead. Never, can't stop, won't stop, said Sean Combs. He says, can't stop. Well, that's not how the flow works. The flow has different rhythms, like a real beautiful song. It starts slow, picks up, intensifies, slows down, it moves. That's how the seasons work. That's what a solstice is. It's like a moment in time where time seems to have stopped. It's a still point. Motherfucker says, I can't stop. He's smart enough to say, I won't stop, because if he would, he's fucked. But he just said, I can't stop. That's a junkie. And he's smart enough to understand that I'm not going to stop, because if I do, I'm going to crash. So I'm just going to go. And I'm going to squeeze more. And I'm going to contract with more intense compensation. In order to never have to come in touch with the reality of my system or myself or my mind or unconscious or my being, if you prefer. So fear is born from something not being sealed. In short, and that fear requires the activation of lust, greed, ego, anger, attachment. And these just create, these energies have to take from somebody, or somebody got to take from you. So if you take from somebody, somebody's going to say, give me, it's your turn to give me. And if you don't give me, I'll knock you down. But the problem is people don't understand the process of compensations very well. I just gave an example. It's a very shallow, superficial example of a Red Bull. No, but we contract entities, mental entities, emotional entities, people. Things get really fucking complex, and those things, they kind of give you something, yeah, but they want something in return, and they'll take their payment saying, and it's going to cost you a lot. And you're not going to have anything to be able to pay because you're already in deficit. So how do you pay? If you're in deficit, that's why you contracted. It says, it's exactly like that cliche of the drug dealer. Gives you the first hit or first 2 hits for free. I don't buy into that shit, but you know what I'm talking about. So the contract says, it's like, get the phone, you get the first month for free. Okay. And then it's $299.99 every month. Oh, it doesn't matter. The first month it's free. So you are already in deficit. And then you go contract with things that you do not understand, thinking that you can do whatever you want because, quote unquote, you're spiritual, or quote unquote, because you have a very powerful mind, whatever the hell you like to tell yourself, right? Or because your ancestors used to know how to talk to that spirit so that you can do that. No. There's no such thing. This is all fantasies. Unless you understand the world of give and take and you have a good, profound understanding of the law of karma. None of that works. There's nothing free in this world. Everything is give and take. Everything. So if you're in deficit and you contract a certain kind of power that gives you something, that allows you to win something, or access something, or get something, it's going to want its payback, but you're not going to be able to pay back. So what you're going to do? Again, I'm saying, you're already in debt. How do you pay when you're in debt? So you have to go steal from somebody in order to take from them so that you can pay your interests, at least. And it creates these complex webs, and these webs become so complex and become organized and structurized, it becomes like the mob. And it's a thing. And this is because we live in the world of deficit. This is Kali Yuga. This is exactly how it works. And our society, our modern world, and its financial system is the most beautiful representation on the outside of this complex psychic web of deficit. So, what's the solution? I told you what's the solution. The current of life is the solution.